Uduasha city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. 800 years ago, the gates of death were broken by the Emperor Immortal. The 5 key-bearers, however, had already unlocked them and walked right through. It is in Uduasha city they dwell. Now, the ghost field breathes next to our reality, lit by the eternal flame of the well of Udu. It is a second skin, a place where thought and will struggle against gravity and light. In other places, the dead congregate in the ghost field, but in Uduasha, the well city, the hell city, they fall straight into the flames. See its glittering districts: Kshitijpur, where the rich plot to buy the horizon; Bunda West, where the refugees of 2 different nations flock; and Pasarhandu, the vertical maze of market and murder. And here is Udepat, where the ceaseless temple resides. Its inhabitants, a family, a snake, and a god. The temple has stood since before the gods of this world were forgotten. Watch as it turns the wheels of revolution. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about people who take risks so they can survive against the odds.
Well, hi. Welcome back to Desperate Attune and our current campaign of Blades in the Dark, called A Candle Ablaze, set in the city of Uduasha. I'm Tree, or Soumithri, I'm your GM, and I will be running this game for you today.
My name is Emma. I am playing Joan, a retired ghost fighter, and I use she/her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Klow. In real life, my name is Zoheb, and I'm a he/him, and I'm playing Miraz Chakraborty, the crew's leech, who is an engineer turned cult leader.
I'm Prince, he/him. I play Vickers, a roofballer and Miraz's wife.
I'm Soap. I play Abbas, the religious scholar, and pain in Miraz's side. And my pronouns are he and him.
Oh, I actually forgot my pronouns, which are all of them. I really don't care.
Some time ago, the disciples received word that their temple would be inspected by the Udaput Development and Restoration Committee. The inspection would be led by Begun Bashundara, who would use it as grounds to declare the temple structurally unsound and renovate it as something else. Perhaps a shopping mall. Last episode began with a standoff between Bashundara's thugs and their main opponent, the Udaput Society for the Preservation of Landmarks and Heritage. Abbas and Joan stood caught in the middle. In the background, a roofball match between Vickers' Angels of Death and Marian's Scofflanders. That match was the reason for all the crowds present at the temple that day. Bashundara demanded that the athletes and their audience be thrown out of the temple so that the inspection could proceed. Tensions rose. One of her thugs lashed out. Miraz tried to intervene, but he got punched in the face. Before matters could escalate further, he was saved, if it can be called that, by Vickers' sister. Her name was Elizabeth. No one called her Lizzie, thank you very much. She took Miraz aside, a rapier in her hand, and demanded that he explain his dealings with the Hive. What sort of man had Vickers married? Did he not understand how dangerous these people were? Back to the standoff, where Joan commanded with something infinite in her voice that everyone involved would present themselves before His Majesty the Serpent. They were in his house, after all. It is rude to crash a party without introducing yourself to the host. The snake, who was overlooking the roofball match, had quite an effect on the new guests. For a moment Joan thought that the threat had been averted, that His Majesty would scoff at those who would demolish his temple and cast them out of his sanctum. But Attune surprised her that he, who is the value of change made manifest, found their plans amusing. Yes, the temple was in need of renovation, and those present would form a committee to draw up the necessary plans. Meanwhile, the roofball match was a maze of twists and revelations. Vickers managed to kick Marian off the roof, but her team had been infiltrated by 2 Hive goons who were actively working against them. They now had the ball and would have managed to score an own goal if Abbas hadn't intervened. Remembering his younger years, he infiltrated Marion's team and, in the captain's absence, directed them to take the ball from the goons. He directed them so well, in fact, that they actually scored a goal against Vickers' team. Alas, life is full of these little ironies. We left Abbas at the kickoff, still elated at his success, as he decided where to kick the ball for the next round. And that's where today's episode picks up.
Okay, here is where my plan comes in perfectly. So, as this is happening. So, if I understand correctly, I have kicked Marion off the roof. She's like out of the action for quite a while. Yeah, and I have landed on the roof where she was. Like, I didn't go down with her. I slammed into her, I threw her off, and I'm on their roof. So what I'm going to do is, with their entire team over by my goal, I'm going to steal their goalpost. Like, literally pick it up. And so I'm going to snag the flag that they are carrying, and then I'm going to wave it to signal to Abbas to, of course, kick the ball to me, because own goals count. And if they kick the ball at their own goal, then they can't get 40 points for the kick.
Yes.
Then we get points.
Okay, this sounds like a roll.
All right, can we recontextualize this to say that, like, I think if Abbas is caught up in the euphoria of having just, led his team to 40 points, then maybe Abbas can kick it like any random direction, and I think he would. He's just so happy.
Yeah.
He's just gonna kick it any old way, and you can then strategically put the goalpost there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, I'm looking at you where you're kicking it, and then I'm picking up their goalpost. I'm running to where it lands, and I'm going to make sure that they score an own goal immediately after we have. That should confuse the scoring. So I think I'm doing a prowl.
I think that the risk is desperate, and this may not sound like a desperate consequence, but the desperate consequence is 40 points, and not to you, right? That's a hefty lead. But you can do this, like, absolutely, standard effect. This is what Roofball is, after all. And
okay.
Just to be clear, if you push for effect, I think great effect here is that you would also start the timer on, like, the captains, because I think maybe what it is Roofball ends when the two captains have been separated for some length of time.
Okay, can Abbas assist me here? Is that a possibility? Because then I get great effect, but I don't know if he is, necessarily.
I could. I mean, I don't have to assist you intentionally.
Yeah, fair.
My Abbas's kicking technique might not be so great. Maybe he just kicks it in a very predictable kind of flight pattern.
Okay, yes, excellent. You assist me, and the reason my red right hand applies, of course, is that I know your ailments. I know one of your feet is weaker than the others, so I can predict your kick, because I know exactly all your health issues.
A+.
All right.
Okay. So then I have +1 die and +1 effect because of red right hand, right?
Yeah.
So then it's desperate great with a bonus die. And is there a devil's bargain? I'm asking, because it would be fun to take a devil's bargain in this moment and get more dice.
I think that whatever you do here will seriously impact the snake's view of you going forward, because this is what you do, this is what you love, right? And if it's going to meet you on your terms, then it's going to understand you in this way. And therefore, if you think, for example, moving the goalposts on your opponents is perfectly reasonable, it's going to think to itself, okay, let's see if I can make something funny happen along with that, like something unpredictable.
Okay, sure. I will take the snake's attention. We get along well. I think it makes sense. He's a nice chap. So desperate great, 2 bonus dice, prowl, let's go. Add the 5.
Yeah, I think I know what happens here. So you kick the ball, Abbas, and it is chaos. Everybody's yelling. Nobody's even sure whose team you're on right now as you kick the ball, because, well, the home team thinks you're on that team, and the Scotlanders think you're on their team. And it's not really clear. And it's not unknown also for someone to, like, change sides in the middle of a football game. Anything goes. Unfortunately, Vinay knows whose team you're on, and it's the Scotlanders, right? So as you kick this ball, it is a beautiful kick. Like, it, sails into the sky, and it is something out of it's like Lionel Messi, right? Like, it's just like sailing in the air, and you yell, and then Vinay, even before it touches the ground, whistles, and then takes out a little notebook and writes a 40 under the 1, right? But as you do this, Vickers, I think you see exactly where it's going, precisely because it's such a nice kick, and Abbas might think it's Lionel Messi, but to you, it's probably like, someone in like 11th grade kicking a ball. But let's not ruin Abbas's moment here. He's having a great time. And you are able to like pick up the flag and not just get to it, but make sure that by the time you get there, Vinay can see that you and your opposing captain are far enough away. And he takes out a little stopwatch. And he looks up at you and gives the Scotlanders like a couple of seconds to be like, well, they have paid me, and then he starts. So, and what I will do here actually is we had a clock in the last session that was about getting the crowd going. I think 1 billion% this fills that clock, right? It doesn't matter who did it, but this is exciting Roofball. So
yeah, so the referee is on their side, but the crowd is on mine now.
I basically like think at this moment, the reason I'm making this a clock is more to think about it, but it's one roll. But imagine this as like a 4-step clock with 2 ticks filled in is where you are in terms of like ending the game, right? And when the game ends, whatever the score is, that's the score, right? So I will just add that to the sheet. And like the reason that this is a clock is that arguably if both of you become very close together, actually the clock goes back to 0, right? So that's the way to think about it. Roofball match clock. So yeah, that's where you're at.
Okay, but we presumably got some points too
so,
for the goal.
So what happens? So you turn up, you hit the pole, 1 point. Now you're only losing by 40, and now you need to get the next set of points, right?
Yeah, screw that. I have a better plan. Like, screw winning this by points. I can win on a technicality. So we have established that if Marion is like far enough away from me, then she is considered to, be running away, forfeiting the match if this timer runs out. But the thing is, I have her goal and the ball, which means that I think if I move away, she's kind of obliged to follow me, and she's beaten up, can't speak, and on the ground somewhere. So I am just gonna like keep the ball and the goal and run away. Increasing the distance between us, because I mean, ordinarily it would be me running away, but when I have both their goal and the ball,
in fact, let me just change that, because you're right. It's if they get too far away, then it's a forfeit, which means the points don't matter. So let's instead say that like that's still true. It's when the goals get too far apart that like the timer for like ending the thing happens, right? But that's not going to happen now, because you're going to get far away from her long before the goals get far away from her. So yeah, absolutely. This is 1 billion%. You can do this. In fact, I think you are only in a risky position because, yes, the entire Roofball match is focused on you, but you literally have that goal in their hands. They can't do anything with regard to points. You might take some harm from this, but you are an expert Roofball player, no problem. And yeah, standard effect. Well, I want to say it's great, actually. Like, I mean, I feel like winning the match on a technicality is the definition of great effect. So standard effect would be, I want some points.
So risky, great. Excellent. Can I take the devil's bargain of running into Elizabeth as I do this? Like yes. Elizabeth and Miraz.
Okay. I know exactly what's happened. Goopy and Baza and Morosim have also chased you, but they don't care about the rules. They've just like, it's a matter of honor not to really be on the ground, right? Like you want to be on the roof as much as you can. But Goopy and Baga are like, fuck this. They get on the ground. They run all the way to where they can see your flag, and they come back up. So I think Miraz and Elizabeth, you see where Morosim is, and you see it's heading straight in your direction. And Miraz, it takes you about 1 second to calculate that this is a great way to win a Roofball match. They're obviously heading straight for you, but they're also heading straight for the thugs who mean to do no little harm to your wife.
Yeah. I'm going to roll to crash down in the middle of whatever conversation Elizabeth and Miraz are having. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
So, risky, great. Good.
Yeah.
I will just roll, I think. Unless Miraz can assist me, but I don't think so.
No.
We've had a lot of assistance. I'll just roll. Let's see how it goes.
A 1, a 3, and a 6. That devil's bargain is what did it.
So I'm going to fly down next, like in between Elizabeth and Miraz. Does she still have her sword out?
No, she's like put it in because she is in the crowd. She can't just afford to walk around with a sword, but she's got her hand on it. She's like ready to draw at a moment's notice.
Good. So then I'm going to crash down next to her. Like, oh, hello, Liz, Miraz. Excellent day to you. Hold this, please. And then I will shove the goal into Elizabeth's hands.
Incredible. Yes. So a couple of things happen. The first thing that happens is you shove the goal into Elizabeth's hands. She goes, excuse me, what the fuck? And Vinay has not been bribed enough to disallow this technicality. He's not been paid that well. So he blows the whistle, I think like twice long and twice short, which is code for match lost due to captain running away. And for 1 second, both teams erupt because they both think their captain is the one being accused before Vickers makes some sign to indicate that no, it's the Scarvlanders who've lost. And is promptly, swamped by Scarvlanders demanding like justice. I think the second thing that happens is that Elizabeth has this goalpost in her hands and is therefore unable to draw this sword, but is also unable to do anything when she comes face to face with her sister, whom she's a bit like, what the fuck? So you have this now tense situation where she doesn't like you, she doesn't like the Hive don't like you, the Hive don't like her, but maybe you like both the Hive and her, it's unclear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a contrast between the sisters here in that Elizabeth always looks immaculate. She has like a black dress with probably some sort of veil and a dramatic black hat. She's very goth, Elizabeth. And then you have Vickers, who is sweating and like dirty and exhausted, coming face to face with her, catching her breath a couple of moments. Yeah. And then like looks between Miraz and Elizabeth and goes, oh, terribly sorry, am I interrupting something?
No, I was just asking her if she's seen any good... She's got any good operas lately, but Liz, she refuses to speak to me.
No,
Very
really?
good at pointing the sword at me, though. Absolutely abominable treatment. And going on about Morosim as being, oh, Morosim, you there. Morosim, what's this I hear about you being a member of the Hive?
I think I just now noticed Morosim and his thugs, who I previously have not paid attention to.
Why would you need to? They are not important in any way, shape, or form to you.
Oh, they are, because Morosim harmed my husband earlier. I'm going to need to have words
in the context
of
the Roofball match.
So very loudly, I'm like, Morosim, I heard you're in the Hive.
Morosim looks up and says, I'm in the Hive. Miraz. How did you an idiot? And I think the way that he says it is not genuine, like, oh, you're so dumb, but more like, can I make you look stupid in front of your wife and her sister?
Mm-hmm. I think at this moment I'm going to march over towards Morosim. Excuse me, you have the temerity to call my husband an idiot after what you did to him, leading him astray in Passahantu into dangerous grounds, into encounters with ruffians. What sort of guide are you? You're terrible at your job, Morosim. Whoever these Hive people may be in the city, they ought to fire you. You're dreadful at your job.
Yes, isn't he? That's what I was telling Lizzie. Like, the Hive can't be all that if they're hiring him.
This is the moment also that Morosim realizes that saying out loud, I'm part of the Hive, is the kind of thing that the Hive discourages, maybe. It's like, he's stupider than Miraz. Like, it's like, why did I say that? But like, I think the Elizabeth kind of says, Victoria, hello? And then...
Oh, yes. Yeah, I turn back with a sunny smile towards my sister.
And then looks at Morosim and says, you are the one working for that woman V, yes? Oh, I've heard all about you. Not really pointing out but mostly the person that she's heard about him from is Miraz in the last 20 minutes. And she genuinely looks like she's about to try and stab him. And she's like a very good fencer, but maybe not as good as you might need to be to take on 3 people, all of whom are ready for violence.
No, listen, okay. I kind of like wave my hand a little bit. Listen, Morosim and your friends, I don't believe we have met. And I extend my hand to Guppy and Baga.
In fact, Baga will shake your hand and say, I'm Baga, this is Guppy.
Oh, hello Baga, hello Guppy. I'm Miraz Chakraborty, this is my wife, and this is my sister-in-law. Let's come inside and let's have a tea. Let's all put this behind us. Morosim, you're an idiot, but It's all right.
No, we're not putting this all. Why are you introducing yourselves to him? We are here to kick the shit out of him, remember?
Morosim will be overruled by me then. I will look at Morosim and say, oh, absolute nonsense. Are you turning down hospitality, Morosim? You know, I really thought better of you. Your parents ought to be very disappointed. How did they educate you anyway? Now, come on, chop chop. We have biryani, and you are going to taste it, and I will hear no objections.
No, Vickers, no. That's okay. We can have the biryani, but first, Morosim, it seems that you have some sort of chip on your shoulder. How about this? Just you and me, huh? You and me, a nice clean fight, the way people like you, I suppose, settle their scores. And once you have been properly trounced, as you will be, you're going to come inside for their biryani, and we're going to put it all behind us. And Guppy and Bhaga, you don't have to get involved if you don't want to. You're always welcome.
Oh, indeed not, gentlemen. I see you're Roofballers as well, and wearing my uniform. I don't remember hiring you, but if you're part of the team, I suppose I should feed you. Because
I think unfortunately what has happened here is that while originally I thought of Morosim as some kind of like badass, the truth is he's not. He's kind of not. So as I mean, I didn't even think he was a badass, but he's becoming more and more comical time because Guppy and Bhaga both like look at him and he's been kind of mean to them and doesn't pay very well and looks at because he plays a mean game of Roofball and says, "We were hired for the Roofball game, boss. You want to pay us more for whatever this is? We'll do the job. But like this wasn't part of the contract." And Morosim's like, "Fucking fine, gotta do everything yourself."
Morosim, you and me, come on, Morosim. Let's see what you got.
I think as this happens, because I think Elizabeth just taps you on the shoulder and says, "Is your husband aware that he intends to fight a member of the Hive? Surely you've told him what the Hive are, sister."
Oh, yes, I'm quite familiar with them. I have had my educations in political science, thank you very much. I do know who they are, but look at him. This man, working for the Hive, preposterous. He's clearly just doing this for clout.
It is not him that I worry about. It is the woman he works for who will not take this lying down. Now, if you insist on bringing the Ashcroft name into this, I must ask you to please consider the effect.
Wait, you're quite serious? He's not just claiming this, he actually works for them. Because he's clearly not believing that an idiot like this could work for the Hive for real.
Yeah. And I think she says, they are not as discerning here in Uduasha as they are back in Duskwall, and they're clearly scraping the barrel, but they will not take this lying down. And she's really like, I mean, clearly she's not gotten through to her brother-in-law, who she doesn't like very much, but fine, whatever. And she hates that, like, you're the one she's appealing to as the voice of reason.
I think Vickers is taken a little bit aback by this. He goes, Oh, I see. Well, they're really rather a lot less discerning then. Well, then Mr. Morosim must be in quite a lot of trouble, doesn't he? I know what the Hive does to people who failed them, and he's failed spectacularly, twice. Mr. Morosim, I believe your life may be in danger.
I think, you say that, and Morosim laughs and says, "What? Because of this man? Look, yeah, sure, he's handy with a pipe."
No. Because of... No, listen to me. Because of the Hive assassins that are after you for your failure. They're going to put an end to you for this, you know. Our temple offers sanctuary, and if you will take it, we can keep you safe.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is a role, but he's not going to believe it. There is, like, you're at zero effect, right? Like, why would he think that, like, you know more about the Hive than he does? But also, he's sure that, like, he just needs to, like, off Miraz now and everything will be fine. So that's his plan. And Morosim will draw... What kind of weird weapon does he? He draws it like a small blackjack.
1v1 me, bro. 1v1 dust.
And it has seen use. Like, it's not like he's a stranger to a fight. And Guppy and Bhaga are both like, oh, I know what they're doing. One of them takes out from his pocket, like, what they call in India, pan, which is a betel leaf wrapped around like a betel nut and some sauces. And it's basically something you chew as a snack. And he hands one, Guppy hands one to Bhaga, and then he has one in his hand, and they both like just put themselves in the mouth, and they're like, this is what we do, right? Like we hang out, has got some Roofball, some 1v1, you know, great. Well, I mean, yeah. Very hard to get through to him. He's convinced everything's going to be
Yeah, Vickers is definitely not happy about this, but I guess she's not getting through to Morosim, so I guess this is happening now. So I think she turns towards Miraz and she would just say confidently, do try to leave him in one piece if at all possible.
Yeah. So he's got the blackjack out, right? Extender manipulator arm comes out from my chest and punches him in the face.
Oh, Zaphod Beeblebrox. Very good.
Jack in a box with like a boxing glove on it.
Very good. Yeah.
I think I did put
Sounds
a
like
boxing glove on it.
Doesn't sound to me like a
earlier, just in
skirmish. Sounds to me
case.
like you're just straight up wrecking him, but that's up to you.
Oh, wreck is much better for me, so wreck.
The
wreck it is
reason,
then.
okay, tell me something about this extender arm. What did you originally design it to do?
I originally designed it to be able to like reach things inside of like a dangerous situation. Let's say, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of like live wires and so on, and maybe I dropped a tool somewhere way back in the workshop. I can just use the manipulator arm to grab it and bring it out. So it's not very good for like fine machining. It's just basically like crude hand that I can extends like many feet.
I'm wondering whether I don't like it. This doesn't sound like the kind of thing that could like just kill a man by punching through his face. So I think you're in a risky position, and I think the risk, like his boss V, is gonna find out about this sooner or later.
Oh no!
But I think the risk is that like she knows exactly how much you embarrass the hive, and she's gonna like take payment like out of your hide, right? Rather than like maybe this like taking a while to percolate back to her, because as you say, Morosim is kind of a moron and not really very high on her list of like priorities.
Do we represent that as heat then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Like it's just kind of.
In fact, can it trade position for effect and have it be desperate in the sense that I've been very public about the fact that this guy's in the hive. I'm like yelling it out. So.
Yeah, and I think like mechanically, let's say that's 3 heat. But it's also fictionally that like we're meant to be keeping our mouths shut about this, guys. We're not meant to be walking around saying, "Yeah, I'm from the hive."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
if we get 3 heat, then we immediately get a wanted level. So
excellent.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, wanted by the hive, classic. Very good.
Okay. So desperate, great then.
Yes.
Okay. Great effect here being I don't know.
Yeah. Before you do this, for great effect. Like with standard effect, you can knock him out, right? So I think with great effect, what you will probably get is that like, I wouldn't say that Goopy and Baga become your cohorts, but certainly like you can add them to your crew contact sheet. They will like you quite a lot, right? Like they're like, yeah, this guy's cool. I want to be friends with all these people.
Okay, cool.
This will be even more embarrassing because now you've stolen more goons.
Excellent. Can I angle for Devil's Bargain?
Yeah, I think there must be some kind of Elizabeth-related Devil's Bargain here. So let me think about what Elizabeth is doing and why it is.
Oh, I think it's very straightforward. I think Elizabeth will go to the hive and side with them in this matter, right? Like,
I was thinking, would Elizabeth just stab this guy?
Yeah, no, I was thinking that there is something because Elizabeth is here. So she is probably the person best placed or something Devil's Bargain related. So I'm just wondering what that thing could be.
Actually, even though I like the idea of Elizabeth stabbing Morosim, probably the simplest one is the one that Brent suggested.
I think so too, and I think it would be fun if my sister is now involved with the hive. It may not even be a good idea for her. Maybe she will need my help later, even though she's my rival. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think it creates the most story.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So
good.
bonus dice 1. Can I get an assist?
I would like to, but I think I'm about to stress out.
Yeah, but the real power gamer takes a trauma as soon as possible.
That's true. I could assist in the sense that I do have the a Roofball team under my command now.
Under your command is a bit stretching it, but yes.
Okay, they love me, or maybe not. We'll see.
They really love me.
No, they don't actually love you that much right now. They've just lost. Maybe you were a plant all along. But nonetheless, yeah, your Roofball team does love you because they do think this was all like a genius plan.
Well,
So I'm getting an assist from Abbas, who may or may not have a Roofball team under his command.
Oh, like I could. I could bring our actual team over for. Okay, so man, what are you trying to do? You're gonna sucker punch Morosim with your mechanical arm.
You know what? I'm just going to roll without the assist, if that's faster. No assist and a failure.
I think, what happens here is that you engage this incredible device of yours and it comes flying out. And I think Elizabeth sees this happen, now actually draws her fencing foil and manages to use it to deflect your extendable arm and steps forward and says, "You do not want to get involved in this, brother-in-law. I already have ears everywhere." Not, of course, betraying that now she's a bit maybe I should just maybe if this is the class of people they're dealing with, then she would just get a promotion immediately, right? And puts her sword, sheaths her sword, picks up Morosim from the ground where she'd knocked him down and says, "These three are coming with me, and you will say nothing about it." And I think what's happening here is that you've lost this opportunity completely. She's taken this opportunity instead of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Vickers will look at Elizabeth, and there is, there's not too much love between the sisters, but she says, "All right, thank you very much for cleaning up this mess. We shall have to discuss the matter further at some future occasion. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a victory to celebrate."
Take care, Victoria. I'm sure Father will be thrilled to hear of your exploits.
Yes, I really ought to drop by and see him sometime soon. Victoria says, "I not actually picking up on the irony of that, I think."
Yeah. And I think she just nods, looks at Goopy and Baga, and says, "Well, follow me." And if you had gotten the shot off, they would have been really impressed with you. But now they're really impressed by this woman who's just stepped into this fight, taken complete control, and now says, "Come with me," right? So I think,
which part is the consequence?
Sorry?
Which part is the consequence?
I imagine the consequence is still the 3 heat. So
yeah, you get the 3 heat, but because it's also a complete failure, you've lost the opportunity to salvage this situation. It's completely out of your hands now.
Mm-hmm. So we are now wanted by the Hive, and Elizabeth has joined them, and Morosim and Goopy and whatnot are out of our hands.
Hold on. Give me an opportunity to at least resist the consequence.
Yeah. So sorry. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Then I think I'm going to kind of scoff loudly and say, "I knew it, Morosim. You aren't really part of the Hive." So I'm going to kind of loudly discredit, it's just a drunk or whatever. He's being taken away. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So you're resisting the heat, is that right?
Yes.
I think basically you will still take 1 heat rather than 3. I think you can
that's fair.
Resist the majority of it, but you can't resist all of it.
Okay.
That's a 5, so that's 1 stress.
1 stress. Excellent.
Okay, then we are not wanted yet.
Yeah.
By the end of the session, we will be.
Probably, yes. Joan, are you still hanging out with the snake?
I think for the most of the scene I have been. That's also why I've not been interacting with it. But I think by the time that this commotion comes to a head, and also because the Roofball match is over now, I'm going to go see what's up, basically.
Yeah. So I think you can appear on this scene whenever you like.
I think I'm going to make my excuses to the people who I've all dragged into the audience with the snake, specifically the 2 representatives, and kind of resolve to meet some other time to begin drawing up the plans that we've been ordered to make.
Yeah, I mean, given that they are now in its presence, they're happy for you to leave, right? They've got a more stressful problem to deal with currently. And I think the snake, of course, is totally casual with you. You're one of its favorites, so no problem. As you leave, I think probably you hear Nabila explain to her long-suffering mother exactly why Vickers' play was genius, right? What an incredible tactical decision to just abandon the points, go for a technicality, and so on and on and on. And Nabila's Fazana's "Yes, dear, yes, that was very clever of her, indeed, yes." So yeah, I think if you head to where they are all kind of gathered now, and I think Abbas, you were there as well, if you want to be. Anyway, this is
I think so. So Alright, so one thing is, Abbas wasn't really there while they were agreeing to, when His Majesty agreed to see the plans for the rebuild and whatnot, so he doesn't actually know about any of this
Yes.
going on. Yes, and I feel like when he does learn, which might be now, he's not going to like it. He's not going to like it at all.
No.
I feel that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, not only is he not going to like what's been planned, he's definitely not going to like that it's been planned without him.
I just want to end. I think like this is about the time that the score ends. So unless we want to have
Okay, so we could have Abbas make difficulties later. Yeah, I think maybe like we could end it here, and then Abbas could find something out later. Maybe actually, if it makes more sense that way for him to find out and then try to do.
I rather feel like Joan would call everyone together at some point and explain, like, hey, there are some changes that have been demanded.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So in that case, are we okay to say, let's say that the score will end at this moment, right? Where the Roofball game is finished. You did win the crowd over, so that's going to get you some coin. Morosim lives to fight another day. And I think we see two scenes before the episode ends of this Roofball thing, even though the theoretical TV episode and our actual episodes are not synced up. The first thing that we see is Marion being groggily kind of awakened, water being thrown in her face. And as she demands to understand what's going on, asking her actual vice captain, becoming incredibly incensed by the fact that they lost because of a technicality and because someone from the other team pretended to be the vice captain apparently. And I think the second thing that we see is Zajjidan and your two Skovlander royal guests just having a lovely time. They're hanging out. They've got sodas and they've eaten really well, and they are so relaxed, guys. Somehow all of the ruckus just passed them by. Isn't that nice for them? Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that's where we end the score. We are now in downtime, so each of you gets 2 free actions. And actually, you know what? Let's see the scene with Joan telling everybody in the crew what has happened, and kind of everyone filling each other in.
Mm-hmm. I think Miraz is sitting down, eating some biryani and kind of dabbing, and he's got a compress on his nose.
This is the eel biryani, correct? Oh, this is the spam biryani.
Spam biryani, yes.
Sorry.
Spam biryani with, well,
whipped cream, I think was my side dish. Yeah.
Fucking bastard.
Excellent. Please do not worry. The time of the mutton biryani with raita will come, but it's going to be season finale. This is going to be the epitome, the zenith of Vickers' arc. We're going to work to get there.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I think Joan looks at the compress and says, so despite our best efforts, it looks like there was an altercation after all.
It was yes, it was that Begum Bazunga or whatever her name was. Her goons attempting to beat up my uncle's friend over there, and I kind of gesture at Abbas. And I stepped in and took the punch. That's fine. I've had worse playing Roofball. And then you saw how I dispatched that goon Morosim.
I certainly saw something. You extended something at him.
Yes, my old companion. This was my thesis, my capstone. And then I kind of extended again.
A very valiant extension.
I'm so sorry you did not get to take part in the match, Joan. I had really hoped to rely on your nimble-footedness, but it seemed you had business with His Majesty.
Yes. Well, maybe next time, but that is actually something we should really talk about.
Yes, what's His Majesty want this time? And Miraz is just eating because, if You know, if the snake had proper business, he would have taken it up with his high priest. So this must be, you know, some casual stuff. That's fine.
Well, I took them to the, the representatives of the whatever commission of making things better, but not actually. I took them to His Majesty, and but it was kind of necessary because they were going to be throwing punches otherwise. So I hoped that would calm it down a little bit, and it did. But it seems they convinced him a little bit that the temple is boring and old and it should be changed.
Miraz kind of leans back a bit. I think that's a fair point.
Delightful. We're redecorating?
Yes. Excellent. I've been doing a large share of my own pocket, but you know, the new flushable toilet, the electric wiring. Perhaps we can have a billboard outside. You know, I always think that a lot of people don't know about this.
So he decided that we should form a commission, and the commission has been formed. It includes me, but also the representatives themselves, and one other person. I think I'm not entirely sure. It was a bit confusing. It went a bit fast, but we are to meet and decide what is to be done and bring plans before him.
Well, you certainly aren't going to have any of this without me, of course. No question about it. I'll be there. I'm the head priest, and also, yes, I have a degree in Sparkrite technology.
In that case, I do think you should maybe bring your extension, because I feel like that some people on this committee are probably going to object to you being there, as you were not there when the decision was made. But I agree, though, that you should come.
Miraz looks a bit annoyed and then says, well, that's very generous of you, John. It's very generous indeed to allow the high priest of the temple to come along.
What does Abbas have to say about this?
Well, we are all ignoring him, aren't we?
Abbas, I think Abbas is just shocked. Like he can hardly believe what he's hearing. They're gonna take this temple. They're gonna rebuild this.
The flushing toilet was bad enough.
Yeah, okay. So I think everyone kind of looks at Abbas to see what his reaction is, and you know, his face. He's got like face like he's seen a ghost.
Perfect. I'm definitely not looking at you for your reaction.
Like, John, what is this? When did you plan this? What?
I didn't plan anything, but plans are still to be made.
I've grown up in this temple. This temple has been my whole life, and now you want to turn this into a shopping mall?
His Majesty wants to.
No, John, look at this. And I have taken up a napkin, right? And I'm like scrawling on it. It's a new design that someone was working on when I left Dustfall, and I don't think it really have caught on. The person who was making it, well, he's a Black Lotus addict. I don't think he can really put it together, but he called it an escalator. And I feel that would really help us with accessibility. And see, it's a staircase that goes up by itself and goes down by itself.
Oh yeah, there you go again, Miraz, with your staircases that go up and down all by yourself. What, your legs don't work, boy? Huh?
Some people,
unbelievable.
Uncle, their legs don't work. And I look at him like, how could you? This is what the older generation are all about, aren't they? Excluding people.
So what the younger generation are all about, aren't they? Well, you know, when I was your age, boy, you know, I was playing Roofball. Yeah, tackle came in from behind me, knee popped completely. But did I need your what is this? Escalate or whatever? No. Got up, I hopped my way home. People tried to help me. I was like, no, I don't need any of that. Because I can stand on my own 1 foot.
I saw someone fall off a train once. I think he could benefit from an escalator.
Well, I don't think on a train there's enough room, and then I start drawing a schematic for a really low angle one.
No, I meant not every accident is survivable for your legs. I merely meant to agree with you.
Yes. I think Miraz has like completely lost it as he's just scribbling designs. Like he's very excited. Finally, we get to remodel the temple.
Yeah. Vickers says, I understand very little of these escalators or precisely how we're to regenerate, but if there's but one more place on the committee, I do think it's important you fill it, Miraz. And I also think it's very important that you make sure they don't do anything that would be contrary to His Majesty's desires. After all, he lived here first. She says, regarding the giant snake as our landlord more than our god, I guess.
I mean, the giant snake is not your landlord.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a complicated relationship.
Yes. I wonder. What do you guys think of this? And there's a and he holds up his napkin. There's a schematic for like a Sparkcraft snake, but like a model Sparkcraft snake that goes round and round in a circle. I think we can put this up over the entrance.
I'm tempted to say we already have that one.
This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy, Miraz. I don't know what you're doing. This is this. You have lost your mind, all of you. I can't.
Miraz has this faraway look in his eyes.
Well, if it is His Majesty's desire that we do something about the place, then I suppose we ought to do something about the place. Now,
No. John, tell me the truth. What did you tell His Majesty? What did you tell him? You did not tell him the truth, right? There is no way he would agree to this. No way. What did you tell him?
I told him exactly what I told you just now. Why would I start lying about this?
I will go see him myself. I will go. I think at this point, like he gets up in a huff and then sweeps his robes very indignantly and then stomps off.
Because that's been going so well lately. She mutters under her breath.
Yes, very good.
I wonder if I should go with him. He might. I think this escalator thing is very important for accessibility, and I don't want him to go around and No. And then he kind of just loses his train of thought and starts scribbling more designs.
all right, well, I'd best go see to the team. I think they're having some sort of disagreement, Vickers says. I shall leave this matter of the committee to you, very proficient people, and if I'm needed on the purpose of decorating, I can pick out some nice curtains.
Very good.
I think, Joan, you notice that as Miraz is kind of like mindlessly, without even realizing that Vickers is gone, as he's like drawing more and more complicated schematics, he's like profusely bleeding onto the napkin.
Oh no, poor Miraz.
Do you need another compress?
And he he looks up. Oh yes.
Nobody is going to be able to read this afterwards if you bleed all over it.
That's true. I suppose I should go seek medical attention. It seems that that's what I spend half my time doing instead of the actual work of design, but it's all right. I'll see to myself and then... I completely forgot. You used to be a railjack, didn't you?
I did used to be.
It's only this story that you told about the one who fell off the train car that reminded me. We should talk about that. That sounds a fascinating line of work, Cousin John. Imagine standing on top of a train hurtling through the Deathlands. He says imagine as though you need to imagine it. With just the tools of civilization anchoring you on top of a speeding metal. It just stirs the soul and quite frightening.
I cannot recommend it.
No, it's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. And I'm glad that you're well out of it. But a fellow woman of science. Yes. Anyway.
I suppose.
Yes. I'm going to go see to this nose, and then we're going to talk about this escalator.
Yes, I am very curious about how that works.
It goes up, it goes down, but not the same one. There's one that's dedicated to going up and one that's dedicated to going down. It's a very simple but ingenious concept. I'm surprised no one has built one before, he says.
How do you make the rocks move, though? Well, we can talk about that later. It's staining the table. It's staining the wood now. Oh no. And then she takes a napkin and starts mopping at the blood.
Yeah, and I think I've already left. Okay. So I guess that's my first downtime action.
I want to help you recover too, actually.
So I did, because we decided that we were going to use rules as written. So I reset my healing clock, and I forgot how punishing this mechanic is.
Yep.
Jesus. Oh well. Yeah. So you want to help me recover? That's a very good
Yes, I
idea
do.
because I have no idea how to do this myself.
Yes. So maybe we can do that scene first
Okay.
before I deal with the roof ballers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my idea for the roof ballers is I think they're fighting each other a little bit. I think they have some sort of internal bickering about how best to celebrate this. So just flagging that. But I do think that dragging Miraz to see my doctor is what I must do here. And so I think that I will spend one of my downtime actions, in fact, to heal Miraz,
Excellent.
to give him some more. And yeah, what we will see is Miraz being more or less physically dragged by Vickers to see Amitabh,
Yes.
who is a doctor and a guru.
Oh, that quack. No, Vickers, take me to a proper accuracy doctor.
I will hear no objections about it. You've spent so long nursing these injuries, and there's been absolutely no progress. Now, Amitabh has helped me a great deal with bruises and scrapes, and also when I had that dreadful cold, you remember? I could not stop sneezing, and I slept all day. Well, that got me right well. Now, he's very well acquainted with any sort of ailment, and I'm sure you're going to get that infected. Now, here we are, and she will pull Miraz into Amitabh's office, which I think he has a very like mellow, new agey kind of vibe.
Nice.
So it's not a quack in the sense that it's a cluttered apothecary store.
Yeah.
It's like a very nice, open, airy building. Lots of carpets on the floor, lots and lots of little drawers.
Is he a young man?
No, he's a big bearded guy.
Is he in fact played by Amitabh Bachchan? Is that what you're telling me?
I guess it could be. Yeah, I had not thought of that, but go for it. Amitabh Bachchan is cool, sure.
Yeah, I think that's. But yeah, so Amitabh Bachchan, who is this healer? I think the kind of place that you're describing to me seems like he has a receptionist.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe as you come in, there's this young, bright-eyed lad, right? Enthusiastic, born and brought up in Uduasha, recognizes you, of course, and says, "Oh, Miss Vickers, lovely to see you again. Is everything okay? Oh, is this your husband? That's a nasty cut on his head."
Yes, he's finally come in to have this seen to. Is the doctor in? Oh dear me, tell me he's in.
Yes, of course he is. And then he waves at someone and then makes a hand signal as if to say, "Can you check?" And then receives a response and he says, "Oh, he's with a patient now, but go straight in. I'm sure he won't mind seeing you." And I think then he
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
and I think then he makes a little note in his notepad as if to be Vickers is here, so don't disturb the doctor or her. And then he kind of says, "Would you like some ginger tea? I could send some up for you."
Oh yes, thank you very much. Now she turns to Miraz and is kind of stern with him again. He was like, "Now, Miraz, please do try to relax. All right, this will help so much better if you do relax, and don't start anything. All right."
Where did this man study? I don't see his framed certificates on the wall. Is he even a licensed doctor?
Vickers, I don't think even answers. She just physically pulls you along to where we're going.
You walk through this seems like a fairly large building. Is it in Udaipur?
Yeah, I think it is. I think he actually lives quite nearby.
Okay, it's a fairly large building, and he has a very nice office view of the city, right? And when you knock, you hear from inside. The moment before, you hear some shuffling, and then the door opens, and his previous patient, who is I think a mother and her young child, come out. The mother is teary, but I think grateful, and the child is just a bit I hate going to the doctor. And Amitabh says, "Oh, come in."
Thank you. As you can see, Doctor, my husband has sustained, well, a mild injury due to, fisticuffs.
Oh, that looks. Tell me, is this Roofball related, or
In a manner of speaking,
in a manner of?
Yes.
I see. And I think, in a manner of speaking, as code for, I wasn't in the game, but I was in the game, if you know what I mean. Which is true, but also not exactly what he's thinking, right? So I think he asks you to sit down. He doesn't have a desk in his room, or maybe if he does, he's not at it. Like that's off to one side. Rather, he's got like some chairs. It's kind of like a sitting room, and he motions to Miraz to come like sit next to him. And if you will let him, he's gonna like put his hand on your wrist and take your pulse.
Well, he can, and I'm just going to kind of scoff at it, but not saying anything. It's like, huh, that's not where I'm hurt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think we have never seen before Vickers be so upset with Miraz before as she is in this scene. I think this is like the most annoyed with him that she has ever been.
Yeah, I think he is not unused to people being like, "Oh, you don't know what you're doing." He's just like hums and like thinks, and he says, "Honey, do you have trouble sleeping?"
No. Well, sometimes inspiration strikes, and I get up and I sketch some new ideas out. I'm an inventor, you see, a qualified spark, right? And I drop that as sort of like, yes, I am a qualified professional, unlike you.
Yes, I think
That's the implication.
yeah. I think he then again like again and says, "And you're stressed about something, are you? Some home family matter?"
Miraz kind of scratches his head a little bit and says, well, yes, I suppose, a little bit.
Yes, that's quite apparent. And then he says, "Well, the treatment for the cut and for the general state is very straightforward. I would recommend rest because you know where to get our band-aids and our salves. Of course, for you, they're on the house. Don't worry about it." Oh, wait a second. Why am I talking like this? Amitabh Bachchan is Indian. Acha, so treatment very normal. Just, bandage it up. There's some ointment that you can take. You Vickers, free. Don't worry about it. But I must ask you to take better care of this man because he is not resting enough, I do not think.
Oh, yes, I'm so terribly sorry. Doctor, I tried to tell him to be careful, but he just takes these unreasonable risks, Vickers says without a hint of irony after having been hang gliding and brawling her way through a Roofball match.
Can't afford to rest. I have an escalator to make.
Certainly, your blood pressure shows incredible signs of escalating, my son, but who am I but a humble healer? Certainly, I have no power in my hands save to give you advice.
That's also the power of sick birds, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, but there's no infection. Nothing more dangerous. Well, then, ointments and bandages should do very well, and I will try to keep his blood pressure down. I will do my best.
Yes, and do come back soon. Your general incredible constitution is, well, very useful to demonstrate to some of my more recalcitrant patients about, my methods. And at any time, if you would like any help, my door is always open. Did the Roofball match go okay? I'm so sorry I couldn't make it.
Oh, yes. Quite very well. Thank you for asking. And don't worry, I shall be back soon for some more of those wonderful medicines you picked up. They've done an excellent job on my many ailments, Vickers says, and I think we see her drop by. Like Amitabh sees her drop by fairly often for ailments that are like basically imagined because of her hypochondriac tendencies.
Yeah, and I think that again, in this case, because he's your contact, he's giving you +1 die. It's not that he isn't a qualified healer, but at least with you, he's like, just reassure her that everything is going to be fine, and we'll, if she ever actually falls ill, because she never seems to, she's like strong as an ox. We'll take care of it at that point, right?
Did Miraz just roll a critical hit on his recovery roll?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had to do it twice. So I think I think the fiction here is that at first Miraz is like, what? So that's it. Just some bed rest. I won't have to, I don't know, snort some crushed butterfly wings or drink down some weird herbal tea or something. All right. We'll try it out. I think it sort of does work, and then probably he goes back on his own time without telling Vickers, and then probably that time it actually does fully do the trick.
Yeah, maybe it's like when you come back the second time, the receptionist like recognizes you and like just like gives you like a nice private room to hang out in, gets you some personal attention from someone, maybe not Amitabh, but someone else who's working there, right? And it's just like nice, kind of like a spa day.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, we should do Abbas scenes next then, since.
Hang on. First, I must remove my cat from my keyboard. All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. I think there are 2 orders of business and 2 downtime actions, so that works out. Abbas is very stressed out mechanically and also in the fiction. Should probably do something about that. So, but also, I think he in his downtime he has to look for like any kind of ally in my. It's my cat again. In trying to keep his beloved temple the way he's always known it, and maybe he's gonna go for both of these. He could probably go to his older brother Zajjidan and just have a brother to brother chat.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zajjidan is actually like quite relaxed, confident that the temple is in good hands. Everybody had a great time. Sure, there was some violence, but that's what always happens in Roofball. And apparently, even the serpent is excited about something. So that's, it's really good. Amazing. So you find him probably drinking some chai, like sitting on a balcony, like just humming to himself, like having a great time.
Yeah, I think this is just shortly after, right? With the meeting.
Yeah.
But comes in. I think I was just, despite the fact that I was an old man, like he's the younger brother here, and he's he stands there. He doesn't just charge in. He waits for Zajjidan to invite him to speak.
Yeah, I think Zajjidan, and he's been doing this his entire life, says, "Hey, sit."
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard, but I can't believe this. Like, do you? Abbas is just like he can't get the words out. It's too much.
Yeah, and I think Zajjidan is going to tease you a bit first and says, "What, you mean that we won the match? I heard you scored such an amazing goal. Like I mean, I couldn't believe it either when I saw it, but yeah, incredibly well done." He's absolutely pulling it.
Normally, I think Abbas would be down for a little ribbing, but is this not like no, Bhaiya, please. I'm trying to tell you something. It's when this Bushundhara woman came here, and they're trying to they say they rebuild, but they're going to destroy this temple, and everything we did was to stop this from happening, and now I hear that we've agreed to let them do it anyway. I don't understand, and no one is listening to me, Bhaiya. Like you are the head priest of this temple. Like, we've grown up in this temple together. It's been like this from our father's time and before. Like, just think about all the history, the stories that we have here, and what are they going to do here? They say rebuild, they say restore, but we know this will become another what? Akora say just they'll make a shopping center here. They'll put their they'll have their rail station coming, bringing in what Sparkcraft nonsense over here again. You've got to say something.
Are you done, or would you like to continue? You're finished, right? Okay. Abbas, as you have told me so many times, when the plains viper grows too big, it sheds its skin and grows a new one, and the old skin is left to rot in the desert. Now, I'm not saying that we will be left to rot in the desert, but it's what the god wants. And maybe we could do with something new around here. It's been the same since our father's time, since his father's time, since that fellow's mother's time. It's just been the same. Maybe, okay, fine. I'm not saying that we should build a shopping mall, but, maybe a new lick of paint, or one of those fancy, Severosi, arches, or whatever there is, in Severos. I don't know. Maybe, don't you think it would be interesting? It would be, I think, as he's saying it, you can hear that he's a little bit doubtful, but he is again, he rolls with the punches. That's his big thing. So,
brother, if only it was a new coat of paint or this escalator or whatever that Miraz wants to put in here, then I would not like it, but I could live with it. I do not trust them. This Bosundhara woman and her group of Udaipur Restoration Society or whatever it is, they look at what they're trying to do to this town. Everything they touch is destroyed. The viper sheds his skin to grow anew, but the viper does not shed his skin to turn into a worm. We have to stop this from happening. I don't know what our Chakraborty what he was thinking, and I do not want to question his wisdom, but somehow something does not feel right here to me. And he will not listen to me, but this was supposed to be your job. You were the ones who is responsible for all of this. So please, Bhaiya, please.
Abbas, I'm not in charge anymore, and your doubts are not unfounded. And definitely, we're not going to allow Vasundhara to take this place down and make it a shopping mall or a promenade or whatever it is they call it. But perhaps this is what the Chakraborty wants from us. We must find something new that is in keeping with our traditions, and we must make it unpredictable. We must make it something that we have never seen before. And I trust you. Unlike me, I'm done, Abbas, and I think you and I, Miraz, will not accept this. But you and I'm retired. I play chess. I talk to our young guests. I drink chai on the balcony and look out at our city. If you want to ensure that we do not become a worm, well, build a better skin. I'm sure it will make us all proud.
Fine. Then look, they're making some planning committee on this, and Miraz is the head priest and chief engineer, but I have no official standing here. But with your influence, put me on this committee. Let me at least try to direct it in the right way.
Abbas, only two people in this temple know more about it than you, and that's Padma and Padma. And between the three of you, you can outmaneuver any committee, even one genuinely put together by the Chakraborty himself. This I believe. Get the twins on your side. I'm sure they're not very keen on this, whatever refurbishment is either. And do what you do best. Appeal to your God, because I can't do that anymore. It's not my job.
You can see Abbas like having some words that are maybe trying to come out, but his respect for his older brother just won't allow him to say anything he can't take back.
Yeah.
And says, "Okay, brother. Okay, Bhaiya, if that's how you see it, then
Don't be upset with me, Abbas. Look, I'll talk to Padma Priya and Padma Mukhi, and I'm sure they'll agree with you. And I will talk to Miraz also, but you can do this. I believe that you can do this. And if you think that this is not something that should happen, then I'm with you. It's time for me to focus on myself.
okay, Bhaiya. Enjoy your tea."
And if you see Vickers, don't tell her I'm on the balcony, okay? I'm just enjoying my chai. I don't want to drink one of her potions. I'm sure it's coming at dinner anyway.
You might want to skip dinner tonight as well. We can try the new kebab place down the road.
I think Zajjidan smiles because he's not allowed kebabs, by the way. But he's absolutely up for it. So he'll be like, okay, we'll sneak out. It'll be just like old times. It's possible the last time the two of you snuck out was like 50 years ago. And so blows out our brief candle. I named the disciples of the ceaseless temple thus, with both their false names and true. Soumithri, called Tree as the GM. Zoheb, called Klow as Miraz. Prince as Vickers. Emma as Joan. Aadiyat, called Soap as Abbas. Blades in the Dark and the original inspiration for Uduasha by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions. Iruvian playbooks by Johnstone Metzger. Jalandhar intro music by Kevin MacLeod. Outro music in Keeravani Ragam by U. Srinivas. Follow us at Desperate Attune on Twitter or email us at desperateattune@gmail.com. Support us at ko-fi.com/desperateattune.